Happy Lag Baomer! We're getting ready to begin the festivities on this holy day of Lag Baomer. Lag Baomer is the day the Code of Jewish Law says we celebrate, because that is the day that the famous Rabbi Akiva, the optimist, one who always saw the positive and the hope, who was killed by the Romans. He had 24,000 students, and there was an epidemic, there was a pandemic, and they all died. And on Lag Baomer, they stopped dying. But the question, of course, is, if they stop dying on Lag Baomer, that may be a time to stop crying. But is it really a time to celebrate? Do we celebrate just because someone stopped dying? We don't see ever a time when we celebrate the end of a pandemic. In fact, the only time we might see similar is when the Jewish people were in the desert and God told them that because they didn't want to go to Israel, they would all die in the desert. When they finished dying after the 40 years, they made it into a celebration. But even then, there was other reason to celebrate. Why would we make a celebration on Lag Baomer for the day that Rabbi Akiva's students stopped dying? And the answer that Rebbe tells us is something so powerful and so important now, in these days after October 7th. The Rebbe says that when you read the Gemara, the Talmud tells us that after Rabbi Akiva's 24,000 students died, and Rabbi Akiva could have gave up. His whole life he worked. He started at 40 years old only, and then his whole life he worked to study and to teach and to nurture and to mentor these students. And they all died. But instead of giving up, the Gemara says that Rabbi Akiva went up north and he taught and he mentored, he began anew. And he mentored 5 of the greatest sages that changed the way the Jewish people went to exile. They were Rashbi, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Yehuda, some of the greatest sages. Says the Rebbe, that's what we celebrate on Lag Baomer. We don't celebrate that they ceased dying only. We celebrate the courage and the strength that Rabbi Akiva had, that even after the tragedy, even after the challenges, he continued to rebuild again and to teach again. And that merit, we merited to have the great Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar, the great Kabbalist, whose yahrzeit is today. And imagine what he taught us and the gifts that he gave us. We celebrate him today. But what we celebrate more than anything is Rabbi Akiva's courage and vision not to give up, even when his students were decimated. And that's the story of October 7th. We're sitting here on Lag Baomer in a year that we've never had before. The Jewish people are fighting for their life from within and from without. In Israel, from terrorists and anti-Semitism all over the world. But yet, instead of putting our hands up and giving up, we continue to build and get courage and grow. And we say we're going to learn from Rabbi Akiva, that even after October 7th, instead of giving up, we're going to fight back. We're going to stand for our pride. We're going to stand for our brothers and sisters in Israel. We're going to stand against anti-Semitism. And we're going to nurture a new generation of proud, educated, loving Jews who are going to embrace Torah, embrace Judaism, and embrace the Jewish people. That's what Lag Baomer represents. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai taught us the deepest esoteric teachings of the Torah. We celebrate his yahrzeit. But we celebrate Rabbi Akiva's courage to get up and to teach again, so he could have students like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Don't give up. Learn from Rabbi Akiva. Learn from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And let's be strong. And let's celebrate this holy, auspicious day. And let's take this meaning to our life, into the day-to-day life, into how we live, into how we teach our children. We have so many children coming now to celebrate Lag Baomer. We have a barbecue, and we have moon bounces and reptiles, whatever you want, to give the children joy, to teach them Lag Baomer, to teach them to learn from Rabbi Akiva and to learn from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Take care. I'm going to go in to begin our party. It's a pleasure seeing you all. Chag Sameach, happy Lag Baomer.